This is Season 5 of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
This week on the show, useless music information and your favorite science, and sex.
That's also a favorite. We will open up the mailbag and news from around the world.
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Welcome to episode number 6. Here we go.
From Beethoven to Bieber, rock and roll to rhythm and blues. This is Totally Useless Music Information with Nick and Roy.
We've all heard of the musical genre heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a genre of rock music, of course, that developed in the late 1960s and the early 1970s in the United Kingdom and United States. With roots with blues rock, psychedelic rock, and acid rock, heavy metal bands developed a thick, massive sound, the distortion and guitar solos and loudness. The lyrics and performances are sometimes associated with aggression and machismo, very much like us on this show.
Yes.
In 1968, the genre's most famous pioneers, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Deep Purple, were founded. By the end of the 1970s, heavy metal fans became known as metalheads or headbangers, which we went to school with many years ago. Heavy metal.
Somebody told me, and I don't know if this is true, it's something we need to find out, or maybe somebody can find out and email to us, that the actual term heavy metal was brought about by the use of the strings. Before that, there were nylon strings on guitars, and when electric guitars came out, they became metal strings, but they were very, very thin and would often break. As they got more trashy with the music, they began to go higher and higher on the gauge of metal. So thus, if you were going to play that type of rock music, it was heavy metal.
There you go. It does the distortion, sound, and everything else.
Exactly. Well, in Hong Kong on November 13, 2009, they hosted the largest harmonica ensemble of all times. Hong Kong, November 13th, 2009, 6,131 participants.
Wow.
Okay, that's a lot of harmonicas. 6,131 performed in a place called the Happy Valley Recreation Grounds. They played for 7 minutes and 25 seconds. That was enough to win the record. 6,131 harmonicas in Hong Kong on November 13, 2009. They also sold the most chapstick in Hong Kong.
They did. Yeah. They also broke the record of the most people who can suck and blow at the same time.
I'm not going there.
By the way, speaking of which, we'll have our sex segment here as Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy continues.
Not that has anything to do with playing the harmonica.
No, not at all, but it's just as messy. Research has shown that the synchronization of music with repetitive exercise provides enhanced physical performance. It helps people work out longer and train more efficiently. Yeah, if you look at our picture, that's exactly what we did. One part of the study showed that participants who cycled in time to music found they required 7% less oxygen compared to cycling with background music. Music provides temporal cues that have the potential to make more efficient use of physical energy. So let's get physical with some good tunes.
Let's get physical. The best-selling solo artist in the world, Nick. Who do you think it is?
Mozart.
No, he's the king. The king of
Rock and roll.
rock and roll. That's Elvis Presley. Thank you very much.
Yes.
The height of Elvis's career was between 1950 and 1960, but he still sells strong even today. Elvis has sold over 1 billion albums. 1 billion.
Wow.
And that's not counting singles and shows and movies and so on. 1 billion albums.
That's why he's the king of rock and roll.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Elvis has left the building. Smarty Musical Pants, students who have experience with music performance or taking music appreciation courses scored higher on their SATs.
Really?
One report indicated that they score on average 63 points higher on verbal, part of the SATs, and 44 points higher on math. Music students also tend to show higher self-confidence and are responsible, more risk takers, good team players, and have increased coordination.
You know why? Because you shut up when you listen to music. If you think about it, you do. You shut up and you listen.
Yeah.
And so you learn the song, you learn the tempo of the song, you learn the words of the song. There's a lot going on when you're listening to music. Plus, let's face it, you put on a sexy song, you make out to it. So you're still not talking.
That's
and
right.
You're doing things.
And while you're making out, you cheat on the SATs when you look at all her answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kids out there, if you want to increase your scores on the SAT, it'll give you a sense of achievement. Listen to great music.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
That's later. On Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Before the Renaissance, music was mainly used and heard at religious functions. Now you say, why is that?
Why is that?
Thank you, Nick.
Okay.
Now that you've asked, the church had money and resources, so they were able to print sheet music. Writing and printing things was very, very expensive. So, of course, it was hard to print music. That was insignificant. It never was done. But during the Renaissance, it changed everything because the printing press was invented. So now people were able to write songs, print them, and send them around for other people to enjoy.
That's cool. Love it.
Isn't that great? Yeah, right.
The late, great Ray Charles. He developed his musical talent at a school and was taught to play, classical music, Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven. His teacher, Mrs. Lawrence, taught him how to use Braille music, a difficult process that requires him learning the left-hand movements by reading Braille with the right hand and learning the right-hand movements by reading Braille with the left hand and then combining the two parts.
Well, then you put the left hand in and then you shake it all about.
Right. And then you tickle the ivories, and then you become a great, great piano player like Ray Charles was.
Pokey pokey, and you turn yourself around.
No, that's the sex part, which is coming up soon on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
The nasty pasty. Do the nasty pasty. Okay, whatever that means. A violin. How many pieces of wood you think makes up a violin?
That's again, speaking of sex, we are a lot of wood. I don't know. I would say 50.
70.
70. Oh,
70.
wow.
You were shooting high. I could see that.
Yeah.
70 different pieces of wood are crafted into 9 basic, what they consider parts that you're able to disassemble. But there's 70 pieces of wood. Okay, I mean, that's a lot of wood for that small instrument.
Yeah.
When you're talking about a lot of wood.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Einstein was a moron. Newton was a jerk. E equals nothing. It's science, science, science.
He was once described as the Michelangelo of medicine. He was the doctor who drew those remarkably lifelike images that was used for medical students to learn the anatomy. Those really graphic and really detailed images that you see, like the veins and everything else. You've seen them all over the place.
Oh yeah, I look at them all the time.
His name was Frank. His name was Frank Netter. They were so lifelike, these drawings, that medical students trusted them more than what they saw in the cadavers or the CAT scans they were studying. His portraits and drawings of body parts and what he did was he teamed up with pharmaceutical companies, and he drew the images of new drugs and how they worked, but they were too vivid and unique to ignore. So what they did was they manufactured a whole bunch of drugs. They said, okay, draw the pictures that helps people understand when you take the drugs, this is what's going to happen. Over 4,000 illustrations were made by Netter during his career, which also depicted patients suffering from conditions like bronchial asthma, angina, that's angina,
Oh my God.
and major
Oh my God.
depression.
Could you imagine that Netta gets so popular and that he knows that his drawings are so well respected that just to mess around with every male student in the medical field, he drew a much larger penis than what is normally on, just to depress the students?
This can be you. Yeah, it's really
Is that
detailed.
what it's supposed to look like? Holy Netter.
That's right. Frank Netter was his name.
And drawing was his game.
Yes.
You know, the, the highest mountain known to man is not Everest.
Why not?
It's on an asteroid, and it's called Vesta. And it is 22 kilometers high. That's 3 times that of Everest. It's 3 times higher than Everest. So if you really want to get high,
What's the name of the mountain again?
it's called Vesta on an asteroid. It's Mount Vesta. And it is 3 times higher than Everest. That's really high.
So while I was preparing for this episode of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, there was a big lightning storm going on. And I thought, hey, wait a minute. Let's find out some information about lightning. The energy of the average 3-mile-long lightning strike is 1 billion to 10 billion joules. With 1 billion joules, you can light up a light bulb for 116 days. That's how much energy. The average width of a lightning bolt is 2 to 3 centimeters, or basically the width of your thumb.
Wow.
When you see the flash of lightning bolt, you can start counting seconds and then divide to see how far away the lightning struck. If it takes 10 seconds, for example, for the thunder to roll in, the lightning struck about 2 miles or 3 kilometers away.
So 10 seconds is 2 miles.
That's right.
So it's 5.5 seconds per mile.
If you do the math, yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. But don't
No, it's 5 seconds per mile.
But don't hold the lightning bolt in your hand because it'll kill you.
Yeah, you don't want to go doing that, kids. You don't want to go running around with open umbrellas. Neil Armstrong walked on the moon in 1969.
He did.
Or did he?
Yes, he did. Okay, we'll say allegedly.
Allegedly. Do you know that his footprints and in subsequent missions, the tire prints are still, the tire tracks are still visible on the moon today from
Really?
1969? Yes, because there's no wind, there's no moisture. And the only thing that would disturb it would be if there was some sort of vibration on the moon, possibly might. But they believe that every one of the tire tracks and footprints that were made in 1969 and subsequent missions are still on the moon.
Wow. I want to go check it out. I want to go up there just to check it out.
Yeah, sure. You just hop on one of them Tesla flights.
Yeah,
They're doing so well. You know how much I love Elon Musk.
Of course. So speaking of rain, it's not just in your head. There's really a certain smell in the air before the rain hits. That fresh scent you detect is coming from the ozone. As a storm approaches, the downward draft of air pushes the ozone molecules closer to the ground where they reach your nose. So that's why you have that distinctive smell. It's the ozone that you're smelling.
You know, they did a scientific study to find that out, but just to mess with them, I ate a whole bunch of beans the night before. And I was like, what is the smell?
That's right. And it was, ironically enough, it was propelled enough where you can reach the moon.
I was like, Luke, I am your farter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. If all of the human body's DNA was uncoiled and put together, it would be about twice the diameter of the solar system.
Whoa.
Yes. That's how much DNA coding we have. It's all twisted and mangled together. But if you were to unravel that double helix, it would, one human body, it would go around the solar system twice.
I thought you were going to say that it'll go around the Earth once or twice.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking that when I was reading. I was like, wait, let me get this right. Solar system.
The whole solar system.
Yes.
Wow. Cool. How many senses do you think we have?
Senses?
Senses.
Well, you have no sense at all.
That's right. Yeah.
I think I have 25 cents in my pocket.
That's right. I was going to ask you. It's not a math. It's not a financial question, and has nothing to do with our mental capacities. As you're listening to totally useless information.
Speak for yourself.
With Nick and Roy. So we've learned for years that we have 5 senses. Seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and tasting. Again,
right.
The sex portion coming up next.
Right.
They are called exteroceptive. Exteroceptive. These are senses because they carry information about the external world. But your body also has receptors for events that happen inside of you.
That would be the sixth sense?
No. Such as your beating heart. Nice try. Such as your beating heart, expanding lungs, gurgling stomach, and many other movements, or in your case, after you eat some beans, a lot of gurgling in your gut, and that you're completely unaware of. They're traditionally grouped together as another sense called interoception, because it's internal. So there's your sixth sense.
Yeah, my wife got very upset with me. She called AAA. She misunderstood me on the phone. She thought I had a flat tire, but it was about flatulence.
You're listening.
Listen, polar bears.
Yeah.
Their fur.
Yeah, what about them?
Polar bear is actually clear.
It's not white.
There is no color to a polar bear's fur, but it's actually clear. And the way the sun hits the fur, did you ever see the Pink Floyd album with the prism?
Yeah, okay.
It goes in and it comes out in all different colors. Same principle. When the sunlight hits the clear follicle of the hair of a bear, it sends out the color white. But there is no actual color to the fur on a polar bear. Now, again, kids, don't try walking up to a polar bear and pulling their fur. It's not a good move.
No, not at all. See, not only do you listen, laugh, and learn, but we tell you some really life-saving tips here on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
I have a bonus one here. Christopher Columbus, credited for discovering America, was just a little late by a few hundred years. It was actually a Viking named Leif Erikson who landed somewhere between Maine and Canada.
There you go.
Okay, and he was a Viking, and he was there. I mean, this is crazy. He discovered the Americas. In fact, Christopher Columbus wasn't even in America. He was actually in South America that he discovered, but whatever. It's very confusing to me.
Well, the thing was his GPS gave him the wrong, directions.
Sure. It said, make a left.
Make a left at the Strait of Gibraltar. You're listening.
And it's at recalculating.
That's right. Recalculating the routes. As you recalculate, as you're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Wow, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All about sex.
So we got an email the other day, and they said, listen, when you do sex, you got to do this.
The following segment of the Totally Useless Information podcast may be too sultry and too sexy for some listeners.
For the rest of you, hands where we can see them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you have intercourse, it gets your heart beating, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not where the heart health benefits end. A study published in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health Trusted Source, they found that sex can actually decrease a man's risk for a fatal heart attack. Researchers found that men who had sex 2 times or more per week were less likely to die from a heart attack than men who had sex less often. The study found no relationship between the frequency of intercourse and the likelihood of someone dying of a stroke. But heart attack, you'll be okay. Unless, of course, they didn't have this part in the study. You'll suffer a heart attack when you're caught by your wife cheating on her.
That would probably do it. Right there.
Right there. Ooh.
In a study, it was found that women that have frequent sex have improved memories. they also have husbands with smiles on their faces, and the husbands have wives that never misplace their car keys.
That's right. So that's why men usually forget, they yell out different names that
Yeah.
women don't.
Yeah, and the women, they get smarter.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
What we do for them.
Yeah. Now, we probably have done this in our high school years. We practice gymnophoria. Gymnophoria. Now, it has nothing to do with
Sure, I probably did.
nothing to do with working out in the gym. Gymnophoria. It's the sense that someone is mentally undressing you.
No. I never felt that way, did you?
If you suffer from gymnophoria, it is the
I think
sense.
half the girls in high school felt that way about me, but
The sense that someone is mentally undressing you. There you go.
okay. Yeah, and the physical part is why I was arrested.
That's another podcast. Yeah.
Adult men think about sex every 7 seconds and have at least 11 erections per day. Okay, who are these men that they refer to?
Yeah.
If this is correct, okay, then right now I'm thinking of sex because 7 seconds
Has gone by. Yeah.
Well, we started this. Wait a minute. Yeah, they're right.
Not only that.
Wait a minute, I have an erection.
So, in the 7 seconds it takes for you to have sex, you think about sex again.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I knocked the computer over.
Wow. Woo. Yeah. Is your computer table made of wood? It is now. Ladies, if you really want to really enjoy a great, satisfying orgasm, leave your socks on.
Leave the socks on.
Leave the socks on. If you want to increase your chance of having an orgasm, keep your socks on during sex, because according to the research, no one knows exactly why this works, but here's a theory. In order for you to orgasm, you need to be totally relaxed and anxiety-free, and cold feet can interfere with the ability to really get into sex, especially for women, according to Dr. Fran Walfish, a psychotherapist and author.
Wow, no wonder my wife comes to bed with her Uggs on.
But never with her boots.
Here's a conundrum, which is what my dad used to call a condom.
Condoms, yeah.
Condom. He used to call them conundrums.
Yeah, the conundrum will be when it breaks on you.
I know. Having sex can cure a migraine headache, but how do you get a woman to have sex that has a headache? That's an oxymoron, isn't it?
Yeah, but isn't it like the usual excuse, not tonight, honey, I have a headache?
I know, but if you had sex, it would cure the headache. But how do you have sex with a woman who has a headache, being that that's the excuse?
Don't do this to me. I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. What was the question
Well,
again?
go have sex and come back and tell us if it works.
It'll just take 7 seconds.
Go have sex with yourself, okay?
Did you just tell me to go and myself?
Yes, pretty much. It's not just for humans anymore. Science has found that wolves, bears, and bats also indulge in oral sex.
Oh.
No wonder the wolves are howling all night long. Right? And now they left something out here. They said wolves, bears, and bats.
Right. Way to
Just-
go.
Just the bare facts here, folks.
That's right. And they're bare. Go figure. So
Yeah, and
if
you're
you're
gonna
like,
play with your bat,
yeah, don't play with your bat.
don't
That's
play
right.
with your bat.
Don't play with your bat. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Visit our website, nickandroy.com. Not only will you find our full
What was that?
library of
Where was
past episodes, nickandroy.com. Nick and Roy, you spell it all out. All in one word, nickandroy.com. And send us an email.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
All right. This is clearly, again, you go to nickandroy.com to leave us an email.
Right.
and we're getting so many great ones. It's getting hard to pick.
Thank you.
But Betty from Gloucester, Mass. This is one of my favorites. Betty from Gloucester, Massachusetts writes, my favorite topic. Well, she writes, you guys are great. I love your show, and you're so funny. And I love the topics. She says, but my favorite topic on your show is the sex topic.
What we just did. There you go.
She said, so I have a question for you guys. And I was starting to get scared.
Oh, no. Dear,
What?
wait, sorry. Did she mistake us for Dear Penthouse?
Yes. What did ancient people use as contraceptives? And then I started saying to myself, well, Betty, you're pretty smart. Like that was a good question.
Great question.
So I looked into it and I was thinking, like I've heard sheepskin intestines or whatever, or sheep intestines, whatever. But get ready for this one. Ancient Egyptians used dried crocodile dung as a spermicidal contraceptive. They would mix the crocodile dung that was dried in with a salve, and they would rub it onto their prospective body parts. And then they felt that they could not get the woman pregnant. Okay, it makes sense because think about it, it must have really slowed down the birth rate, because how many husbands died following crocodiles around trying to get the dung?
That's right.
So that in itself knocked down the birth rate right there.
That's right.
Again, kids, do not try this at home.
No, do not approach a crocodile or
With a poopy bag, with a doggy poopy bag,
Don't you
or with a
remember-
doggy bag.
Wasn't it Ziploc bags, crocodile bags had like sort of like that ribbed sort of
Oh yeah.
texture on it? Crocodile? Yeah, there you go. We just, we product placed Ziploc bags.
So Betty from Gloucester, Massachusetts, we love you too, and we're glad that you love sex so much.
There you have it. Thank you very much. Where was she from?
Betty, Gloucester, Massachusetts. The Gloucester fisherman.
That's
The guy who gets the fish sticks.
yeah. Yeah, it gets more than just
She's
steak.
not thinking about fish sticks, Betty.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
And now for something completely useless.
When you pick up the phone, or if you still have a landline, although more and more people are not using landlines anymore, you'll hear a dial tone.
Do you have a landline?
I do, actually. We do.
I
Although
don't.
it's now really hooked up to our cable, which is really 5 coming into the house. So they produce this dial tone, and it has a frequency between 350 and 440 hertz at a level of minus 13 decibels, in case you're wondering. Audible ringing tone is defined as comprising of frequencies between 440 and 480 hertz. And basically, it sounds like the first and third of the F major chord.
I spoke about this before on previous shows, that my grandfather had something to do with direct dialing for the telephone company. He worked in New York, and he created direct dialing. Before that, you had to pick up the phone and click it a few times and go, Mabel, do me a favor, connect me to Betty.
Operator.
Please connect me to Betty in Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, that's a real connection.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So on the
wow.
Wow, yeah. On the show, we talked about sex. Certainly, we talked about, what else did we talk about? Jeez, I keep
We
forgetting.
talked about a lot of things,
Oh, no,
Nick.
right,
We
right.
talked about
Oh, that-
sex.
Oh, that,
We
right?
talked about science, music.
It's time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
Jessica Nelson was waiting at a McDonald's drive-thru in Marshfield, Wisconsin.
Oh, good. It's not Florida.
It's not Florida. So while she's waiting on the drive-thru, she realized there was something unusual about a car. There was a few cars ahead of her. A cow in the back seat.
There was a cow in the car. I
A
hope
cow-
they weren't going to Dairy Queen.
No, they
That would have
weren't.
been insulting to the cow.
They were in a McDonald's drive-thru. Maybe it was a family reunion. I don't know.
Oh, God.
She thought it was a fake at first, but who puts a cow in a Buick? I guess it was a Buick.
Yeah.
After all, what would a cow be doing at a fast food restaurant that serves burgers? Like I said, a family reunion.
Right.
She was even more surprised when she saw the mammal move its head, because she thought it was just some kind of, puppet or
Hey,
something.
Sure, I thought it was a joke, but no.
It was 100% real. So she took a video of it and went viral with over 40 or 52,000 views and 2,000 shares. She wrote, all because an old man drove to McDonald's. Old McDonald had a Buick, E-I-E-I-O.
No, but can you imagine like driving up and putting your order in, Big Mac, fries, and the woman goes, would you like a shake with that? And she's like, are you kidding?
No, they'd say,
Why would you want a shake? Look in the back seat. You're getting it right out of the udder.
the other what? so
Burger King.
So I'd like to have like a Big Mac, 2 burgers, and the cow behind me. That's
That's insulting to the cow too.
It was.
You're going to eat hamburgers.
Now, according to this
Do
lady,
you think that they were trying to mess with the cow's brain? Like scare the cow? Maybe the cow was a hostage and they were like, look what we're going to do. We're going to eat your friends.
yeah. So what's the
I think
ransom?
It was Betty? Was it Betty from Gloucester,
No,
Massachusetts?
that's right. No. So what's the ransom? Like 5 bales of hay? Like what is it?
Holy mackerel. How'd they get the cow in the back seat?
I don't know. Really carefully, I guess.
Was it convertible?
No, it was a regular Buick. I don't know what kind of Buick, but it was not a convertible. They got this cow, this man who said that he bought the animal at an auction.
Yeah.
But it was really a calf. It was really small.
I'm sure it had to be a calf.
But not 1, not 2. There were 3 calves in the back seat.
3.
3
So
in this
it
Buick.
used all of the available seat belting.
That's right. Yeah, they could. That's
You
right.
think he would have got a ticket if the cop pulled him over? He's like, look, I'm sorry, but your calves have no seatbelt on, and you have nice quadriceps as well, but your calves are really good.
That's right.
No,
That's
but
right.
can you imagine that?
Yeah. So I mean, she took a video of it, and
Maybe, I'm sorry I have to stop you.
Yes.
Maybe, just maybe, this gentleman was watching the calves for a friend and didn't want to leave him home alone and said, I'm hungry, and he took him with him.
he took them to McDonald's, right? Yeah. That's right. To scare the calves, they went to McDonald's.
Right, he was
yeah.
like, if you calves don't go to sleep when I get home, you're going to become one of these burgers.
That's right. 2 all beef patties and the calf and the Buick ahead of me.
Do their calves have names?
No, at this time they did not release any of the names, but the investigation is continuing, and if there's a follow-up, we will certainly give it to you right here.
I bet you that they had names. I bet you the 3 of them had names. There was E-I, E-I, and O.
And the farmer was, his name was McDonald. There you go, McDonald. Old McDonald had 3 calves, E-I-E-I-O. That's how the song's going to go. Old McDonald had 3 calves, E-I-E-I-O.
Wow, we got to get real jobs.
Well, we will, because that's all the time that we have. For this week's episode of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, we will scour the internet and other sources to get you useless information for next time.
And we apologize for everything that we've said in the last hour. And if you'd like to yell at us, please go to nickandroy.com. That's nickandroy.com. But really, tell us what you think of the show, because we really do enjoy it. And if we like your email, we'll use it.
That's right. I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy.
Thanks for listening.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is a production of nickandroy.com. Visit nickandroy.com to access the full library of episodes, or wherever you get your podcasts.